Hello knitters, Faye Lynn from Strands Knitting Studio in San Clemente, California. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, it's here. So today I'm just gonna talk a tiny bit. So I have stuff on my needles and some cool techniques that I've figured out. And then sort of a look at what I'm thinking about for next year. And then happy Christmas. Stay tuned. So these bundles, love. So I bought this bundle and I'm having enough to make 2 full projects or more, but look at this plant holder, could be a pencil holder. How cool is that, right? It's really fun to make. It's got a technique in it, but once you get it down, you got it down. There's really, yeah. But you're just, you're knitting these, and then on the back, I'm not even gonna try to explain it to you because you're gonna go, huh? You sort of need to see it, but it's the coolest thing ever. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you can make them bigger because it said this is, you could have easily probably made 2 of these. So you can make one that's bigger. And then of course you can just use scraps too. If you have scrap yarns, this is a great thing. And I didn't put a bottom on it because I knew it was going to have a plant in it. But if you wanted to, you could put a bottom on it. You don't have, no matter pretty much what you're going to use it for. Because it could be like pencil holder, cover, you know, anything you can think of. So anyways, it's called Roly Poly. Of course, like everything else, there's links here. There'll be links in the emailer. And it takes you to the Ravelry page that has all the patterns on it. So you don't have to look for it. But it's just the cutest thing ever. Love it. Then with the leftovers, I'm knitting a pair of fingerless mitts, and I'm single striping. And I'm doing a technique called helix knitting. And it's sort of a weird technique. It's really easy if you're only using like 2 colors, 3 colors. I'm using 6 colors because I roll that way. And I wanted to use the yarn up because I had quite a bit of yarn left over. So I'm doing this. Let me show you this side first. So it's all single, you know, it's just 1 row at a time. But instead of like taking it, changing it all the time, you carry everything along with you. It's the coolest. You'll have to look it up on YouTube, Helix Knitting. Look up, I'll put a link maybe down there for you to get to it. But anyways, and as you can see, it sort of becomes a spiral that you can see. It just keeps spiraling. Can you see that? You can sort of see that, right? And so, even though this looks really scary, it's not that scary. Because all you're doing is like, I would be knitting, right now I have the white here, which I'm almost out of. And so I would be knitting the white till I get to here. And then the new color for me to pick up is right here. And then I'd be knitting this color till I get to this little marker. And then the new color I need is right there. And I just drop. You don't have to cross things. You just drop and pick up the new one. Drop and pick up the new one. That's all you're doing. Even though this is scary and you've got yarn management issues. But even then, if you will just do straight strands of things, then it pulls out if your needle's not stuck in it. If your needle's stuck in it, it ain't pulling out. So, okay. Hold on, let me get out. So, all you would have to do is pull on this. You just pull. And it's gonna just come right out. This is also a skein that's tied to something. So let me pull this one. I had skein, you know, wrapped little balls. I don't see how that just pulls out. So if it's just this is what I suggest mostly. If it's just a thread, a yarn, single yarn, not with a no, I don't. This ain't cooperating. And it just has no ball. It has no, like one of these at the end, because that's obviously not going to pull out. That you can just keep pulling on the single thread and it comes out. I learned this when I took a workshop with Kaffe Fassett, who's like the master of all things color work. And has been very popular. He does needlepoint stuff too. But anyways, that's the way everything they do. They got tons of intarsia, tons of color work, Fair Isle, And so that he said, just long strings and just pull them. And I'm like, oh my God. The other thing he said is when you weave them in as you go, and then you leave about a tail that long so that things don't pop up through the front. And he had little tails all over the inside of his beautiful sweaters. If Kaffe Fassett can put little tails on the inside of his sweater, I do too. And so that way, like if you cut it right at where it's the end pops through the front. And now you got these little things that pop through and you're constantly having to deal with that. But if you leave that much, they don't pop through. So anyway, so if the master of color work can do it that way, I can too. So can you. So anyways, the great thing about this is there is no weaving of ends. There's no ends to weave in, even though you're doing all this color changing. So it's really quite fun. It's not for the faint of heart, not a beginner. Now you can also, like this is the master, like this is 6 colors. It works really well, just 2 colors or 3 colors, which makes it way less complicated and stuff. So look on YouTube, Helix Knitting. Give it a shot. It's pretty fun, actually. Okay, so my plans coming up in the next year here. I'm going to knit myself a couple cardigans. I'm trying to choose right now between a couple of them. And so I'm going to knit myself a couple cardigans here at the beginning of the year, hopefully. At least one. Because they're not on giant needles either. I'm doing a little bit more fine, so they're going to be like on 8s and 9s and 10s, not on the 13, 15, 17, 35s. So it does take a little bit more time, but not on, it's also not fingering weight on a 3 and a 4. No. So I'm thinking about that. As far as classes, the beginning of the year, I tend to do a lot of technique classes. So like fix your knitting, knitting 101, all the little tidbit secrets of doing your knitting and having it, just the nuances that make it easier, how to pick up stitches, the simple stuff that for you right now doesn't seem so simple, but once you get it down, it's actually not that bad. And so knitting 101, I might do a cast on. There's a million ways to cast stitches on, and there's a reason why you use different cast ons. So I may go through, 5 or 6 cast ons, and then bind offs is the same way. There's all these different bind offs, and there's a lot of reasons why you do those bind offs. And so casting on and binding off, there's tons to learn there. You're never done learning there because people keep coming up with new things. It's pretty crazy. A Ravelry class, so you can learn more about Ravelry. I might do like a beginning one and one that like goes into more things if you've been using Ravelry, but you're just barely using it, But we do that on Zoom because that way you can see my screen as I'm clicking around. You can see exactly what I'm doing, and you need 2 devices. One you're looking at, which could be your phone or whatever, an iPad, computer, and then one that you can click around and fill in and do all that kind of stuff. So another Ravelry class. So then the other thing I'm sort of thinking of, and put down in the comments down below on YouTube, put in the comments what you think. I'm thinking of maybe doing some pillows that are technique classes. So here's some pillows I found that are beautiful. And I would just pick different pillows that do different techniques. And so it's a nice smaller, project. You can do fabric on the back of the pillow so that you really are just doing the front of the pillow, and then you sew the fabric on the back. Or you could do the back, whatever. So that's sort of rattling around. Let me know what you think, if that's a good idea or not. Of course, our blanket class is coming up. It starts in the 4th week of the month. So that's like, I don't know, the 4th week of January is 20 something. And so it starts, it's coming up. So, again, I'm going to put the video I have just talking about the blanket class at the end of this video. So if you're interested, just keep after the credits, it'll be there. Okay, and it tells you a lot more. I'm not going to keep going into it here because some people just have already done it. But it is the best class to learn knitting and become a very confident knitter, to be able to know you can tackle things on your own, to be able to start understanding what's going on, reading patterns, reading your knitting, all those things, plus learning a lot of really cool stitches and meeting new friends because it's the same group for the year. So it's pretty fun because we keep seeing each other. And so that is coming up. The yarn is not in the store until the 15th of January. So don't worry about the yarn yet, but do let us know if you want to call and sign up. So that we know how many people, because that may make a choice on how much yarn we get and stuff. So if you're interested, call us and get on the list. And if you need more information, go to the end of the video. Things I'm thinking of is we might do a couple of knit-alongs. So knit-along is like the same pattern or the same category of a pattern. You're picking what you want, and we all just sort of start at the same time, and there's a time limit to get it done, and then you know, we try to get it done, and then at the end, usually people who do get it done, we put you in a raffle and we pull out a prize. And so we might do a couple of those next year. Something simple, maybe something a little more complex, because sometimes complex, that's nice to be in a group to do that. And then some of the advanced techniques I'm thinking of is double knitting. I've had a couple people wanting double knitting. So here's what double knitting looks like. Double knitting is a slip stitch pattern, so it's sort of mosaic-like, only it's not, because this is reversible. So it totally, whatever the colors are on the front, it's going to be the reverse of the colors on the back. So it's a really fun technique to do. And it makes a great fabric, and it makes a great, like, it's just fun. So I'm probably going to do one of those. And then there was something else. That's all that's in my head right now. So if you have any other ideas, again, comment down below. This is on YouTube. You're on YouTube if you're watching this. So just comment down below what you would like to see a class for. And we'll see if we can make it happen. So that's it, you guys. I'm off next week. So I'm off until, so I won't be back in the studio. I'm here today, tomorrow, but this is after that. So I'm not back in the studio until the 3rd. But Christine will be open. Call, because I don't know exactly what the hours are going to be, but call. So if you have like the emergency thing, you can still come in and she can get it fixed up and send you on your merry way if it's something nice and fast. But other than that, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. We both thank you all so much for a really great year. We really have had a great year this year, and it's been a lot of fun. And we love all of you so much, because without you, we're not here. And I'm telling you, to be able to have a knitting family is everything. And I'm just so very grateful that you support us and that you come and have fun with us, because that's what it's all about. So next year, 2024, and I'll be here on Wednesday the 3rd. So Wednesday the 3rd, everything stays the same. Classes, all that stuff is all the same. So nothing changes there. And we'll see what kind of good trouble we get into in January and February. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the studio real soon. Bye. Okay, our heirloom blanket. So this is a year-long class. This will be our 4th year doing this blanket. It's a year-long class that you learn lots of things about knitting. Like, you learn a ton of techniques. You learn about pattern reading. I find that everybody that takes this class, whether they're a beginning knitter or an advanced knitter, come at the end of the year and say, I've learned so much about knitting in this year. And so the blanket has, all the squares are different. There's 20 squares, and all of them are different. You end up, we typically get 3 colors, and you see everything's really different. You got bobbles, you got cables, you got striping, you got lace, you got fair isle, you got stitch patterns, you have a cabled owl, and jacquard, you got all these stitch patterns. And one thing you definitely learn is what you like and don't like. Like, if you'll figure out whether you like lace or you don't like lace, or you like cables and you don't like cables. Those kinds of things, you'll figure that out pretty quickly. But at least you figured it out on a little 10 by 10 block, and not a sweater or something that you bought tons of yarn for, and you're like, oh God, I hate doing lace. I don't want to do lace. Or I love doing cables. Thank God I got, So you figure out things that you like. Fair isle is another one that's a big technique, and lots of things are fair isle right now. So so you learn a lot, whether you're new to knitting or at advanced and been around knitting for a while. I hear from everybody how much I learned from doing this class. So you'll learn the pattern reading. You'll learn pattern reading, which is really, a lot of people's like, oh, I don't understand the patterns, which, yeah. You learn how to fix things. And then you just learn tons of different things. It's a year-long class. We meet once a month, the 4th Sunday of every month. And so you get to know everybody, which is really fun, because you're on sort of a journey with a group of people, and it's the same people all the time. So that's really fun to do. And then by the end of the year, you actually have a finished blanket. like it. And so it's just a lovely, lovely way to like learn, advance your knitting skills no matter where you are in your knitting journey.